Future Governor Buono understands that the teachers are the unions and the public employees are the working families of New Jersey. You cannot separate them. Governor Christie is looking to demonize the public school teachers who go to work every day and all they want to do are teach kids.
Well, I have to tell you, coming back to my alma mater is something else. I have to say, it didn't look this way when I went here. It's a much vast improvement. But it is wonderful to receive the endorsement of the AFT here. And for me, it's much more than just an endorsement. For me, it represents the collective voices of all your members coming together, united in the belief that it's time for a change, New Jersey.
Governor, do you feel that the governor is picking and choosing unions? In other words, he'll embrace the support of building trades unions, but then says that unions are the problems, and teachers, given the choice, might actually support what he's advancing. To what degree do you think this governor is harping on a divide between unions? And can you resolve that divide?
Well, I will tell you this. I can't speculate on the governor's motivations, but I will say this, that unions, public or private, have been the backbone of our middle class. If not for unions, we wouldn't have a middle class. And although the governor's changed his slogan recently to call it, I think, something like middle class reform, for a governor who has vetoed the minimum wage, an administration under which the middle class has actually shrunk, that has about as much credibility as his last slogan of the New Jersey comeback.
The Christie campaign today put out an email ahead of this event saying, you know, you're saying a lot, but the AFT, biggest member group, entered into a union with the Christie administration that included merit pay, which you opposed, and they said, how do you explain your opposition to that groundbreaking contract agreement and stand with this union that agreed to it at the same time?
Let's just say that that groundbreaking contract was funded by money that the rest of the state doesn't have the advantage of, the Zuckerberg money. And so I think that it's something that, you know, I was referring to the fact that the research has shown that there's research that has shown that merit pay is of limited value. I think that it makes sense when you look at a school in its totality and in terms of how the schools perform, but I don't believe in pitting one teacher against another, and I think it doesn't have validity in terms of improving the quality of the teaching instruction. Well, I have to tell you, coming back to my alma mater is something else. I have to say, it didn't look this way when I went here. It's a much vast improvement, but it is wonderful to receive the endorsement of the AFT here. And for me, it's much more than just an endorsement. For me, it represents the collective voices of all your members coming together, united in the belief that it's time for a change, New Jersey. As I come back here and I look around at the campus and memories come rushing back, and I have to say this was a pivotal time in my life, and it had an indelible impact on me. When I was about to enter my sophomore year here at Montclair State, my father died suddenly, and I was suddenly on my own, and it changed my life forever. And it was sink or swim, and so I decided to swim. And I had to figure out a way to stay at Montclair State. And let me tell you this, I'm under no illusion that if it wasn't for an affordable tuition back then, and if it wasn't for tuition assistance from the university, and if it wasn't for work study, and if it wasn't for my father's veterans benefits and his Social Security death benefits, and professors and a university that supported me, I wouldn't be standing here running for governor of the state of New Jersey. And that's why every chance I get, I stand up for the educators of New Jersey. I stand up for the students. And that's why education from kindergarten on up is so important to me. And yes, I will be the education governor, because if it weren't for a solid public school education, which I like to call the great equalizer in democracy, and if it wasn't for Montclair State and Rutgers Law School, I wouldn't be here standing, and I wouldn't have achieved what I have up until this point. And so just as you have supported me in the past, and as you come here today to support me, rest assured that I am proud to stand behind the AFT, and I am proud to be your collaborator, to work alongside of you in ensuring the future of public education in New Jersey. Now, you know, it's unfortunate that this governor has felt that he needed to demonize educators in New Jersey, because you are our children's educators. You, in every day in the classroom, you work to prepare our future innovators, our future entrepreneurs, our future teachers, and our future engineers. Every day you are in that classroom, you work to build New Jersey stronger. And you know what? This governor just doesn't get it. He doesn't get it. Just last week, he was out there and he made headlines by calling out the teachers' union, and he said, unions are the problem. And you know what, Governor? Unions aren't the problem. Your misplaced priorities are the problem. And not only does he have no respect for educators, this governor stands by and watches as our children suffer, as he refuses to fund our school funding formula according to law, and as he sits back and watches as our students graduate from public institutions of higher learning under the crushing burden of debt. Now look, he had 3.5 years. He could have worked with the unions to rebuild an economy that works for everyone. Instead, he demonized them, and he instituted policies that support the wealthiest 1%. Well, as was said prior to me getting up here, we have the dubious distinction of having the highest exodus of our students, of our children from this state to other states. We have one of the highest tuitions for public institutions of higher learning. In fact, a report was just released a few weeks ago that said in New Jersey we have on average of about $3,000 higher tuitions if you take into account tuitions and fees compared to other states. And that is simply unacceptable. You know, we have some of the best and the brightest in our institutions of higher learning. And while they may get all A's when they're in school, too often they are graduating with 3 Ds, a degree, a diploma, and disappointment. Disappointment because there's no jobs to pay off their loans when they get out of school. Disappointment because their credit rating will be hindered for the rest of their lives. And so that's why I'm running for governor. Because you know what? I believe that we don't have to settle for a false choice between a government that is fiscally responsible and a government that stands up for and is committed to uplifting New Jerseyans, especially when they need it. Because, you know, I told you I grew up in New Jersey, and I didn't tell you that I was the daughter of an Italian immigrant. We didn't grow up with a lot. My dad was born in Italy, emigrated here when he was 3, and we grew up in humble circumstances in the second floor walk-up of a rented apartment in Nutley. My parents slept on a fold-out couch so my 2 sisters and I could have a bedroom, and we didn't have a lot. But my parents taught me the importance of that wonderful combination, hard work and a good education, and how that combination would not just open the doors of opportunity, but how they could transform a young person's life. And I know if I didn't have that social safety net, along with affordable higher education, that I wouldn't be standing here before you. Because I grew up in a New Jersey that wanted to see a kid like me succeed. And I feel that that New Jersey is slipping away. I grew up believing that if you just worked hard enough and you had the advantage of having a good public education, that anything was possible. But as long as we have a governor who looks at private school vouchers and charter schools as the answer, as long as we have a governor who sits back and watches as our children graduate burdened, saddled with debt, as if it's their problem and not his responsibility, well, it's time to say enough is enough. It's got to end. Our students and our teachers deserve much better. You know, sometimes it happens in the course of history that change can wait no more, and you find yourself somehow in the center of it all. I feel that this is one of those times because we have a choice to make, and it's the choice between a false comfort in diminished expectations, or is it the belief that we stand up for the principles that made our state and our country great? That if you work hard and you have the advantage of a good education, then you can achieve anything. And so, my friends, we have to make the right choice. This is one we can't afford to get wrong. And so with your help, with thousands and thousands of teachers and students and parents, when we work together, united in the belief that equality of opportunity for everyone in this state is a right for everyone, not reserved to the privileged few, then we will win in November, and we will begin to restore hope and opportunity that is New Jersey. Thank you.